Yeah, well, he was at the Tower. He used to do the Tower. He'd been at the Tower for I think 29 years then. And in the winter time, he would do television's Ed Sullivan shows, and a lot of times he did Wembley Eye Show because he was a special actor. He was a non-skating act, so it was quite a good change. My mother got a phone call saying, "Mrs. Cairoli, you don't know me, but I'd like to talk to you about your husband because we're thinking of doing a programme, but it's top secret." So, right, so we met at the Imperial Hotel in the bar. He was a lovely guy, ex-policeman, really nice. And he said, "Well, we want to do This Is Your Life and Your Husband, so but he can't know about it." Oh right, so we went. So he opened this reporter's notebook, and all this information was coming out. He got it from newspapers and things like that. And they said, "Right now, do you still want us to go ahead with it?" We said, and I said, "Yeah, why not?" My mum went, "Well, can I not tell him?" No, you can't tell him. So a car came up. It was really nice actually, quite spoiled. Car picked us up at the house, took us to the station in Preston, got the train all the way to London. Our car met us there, drove us to the hotel. It was like, oh, it was all, and we all had to go this ways, and we had these cars with blacked out windows in case my dad was walking around London, so like walk past and wave. And then at the hotel, and we had to eat in the hotel, and if we wanted to go anywhere, we had to phone these sort of, I suppose, helpers really. If we wanted anything, we had to ask them. And the next day, we got picked up by a bus and taken to studios, but the bus had blacked out windows. And we got there and we did a rehearsal, which this guy who played my father, a young lad, we had to call him Dad. Hi, Dad, And we did it because they sort of tried to get a rough idea of time, and what they're trying to do is let all of us who hadn't been on television get used to that atmosphere. They came to him one day and said, "We're going to do a publicity film for next year's pantomime to go on television. So we're getting another clown in to film with you, and he's going to explain that. This is the eye show." So I said, "Fine, great, no problem." So he just finished the finale of the first show, walked off into his dressing room, and there's this other clown there, doing clown makeup and things like that. And he looked at him and thought, "I know." He said it was his teeth more than anything, because Eamonn Andrews had quite crooked teeth. And he went, "I'm sure that's Eamonn Andrews." And Eamonn Andrews then sort of came over and said, "Hey Charlie, you just did bad." Well, this is your life. And the silly thing was, my dad had gone to Wembley that day, cleaning his car, and he got on his old clothes because they know what he told him. So he's got all his scruffy old jeans on, and he's cleaned all the car out because he had time on his hands. Cleaned all the car, so they had to lend him some clothes to go there to do This Is Your Life. So he said, "No, I've only got my old clothes." "Oh, don't worry, we'll sort some clothes out for you." When you look at it on television, when we knew we were going to go on it, you watch it, you go, "Oh, it looks really spectacular and fantastic." And then when you go backstage, it's all like wooden frames with covering on, bits of glittering gold and things like that, a couple of lights stuck on it. And there was a little guy stood at the side there, and you wait there, you hear this voice that's pre-recorded, and do you recognise this voice? Blind man, you go, "Yes, it's your wife," or whatever, and the door's open. And I'm talking to this little guy, and he's the one that opens the door with a piece of string, which shatters your illusion there, and then you imagine this electronic thing, And he said to me, "Are you nervous?" I went, "No." He said, "Well, I would be." I said, "Why?" He says, "He's got about 20 million viewers out there." I went, "What?" He said, 20 million. And also this voice goes, "And do you recognise his voice?" "It's your son." And the doors opened and suddenly I go, and it's like, oh, and it just, up until then, I never even thought about that. I thought, oh, going on television, And he thought, you just couldn't comprehend 20 million views. Oh, the guest, there was, they flew, one sister was in South Africa, and they flew her over from South Africa, which was quite a surprise, because he wasn't expecting that. And he got the partners on Paul Collin and Jimmy Buchanan, and they won. And he wanted to hit me mother because he kept a surprise for her. and they flew his mother, which was quite. It's one thing he didn't expect at all, and they told us afterwards they went to the because she didn't have a passport. She was never going to travel at 90 odd. She had no one. So they went to the police and said her son was dying, and his last request was he wanted to see his mother, and they sort of said this is Cairoli. So they gave her a special passport, and they flew on the plane. They flew with her. She had her own little sort of helper type thing. Totted on the plane, and they flew over to London. She had a car, they whisked us to the studio. She stopped the night, and they flew back the next day. There was two famous clowns. There was Coco and Charlie Cairoli. Those were the two, and they were both good mates. They both worked together a couple of times. Well, Dad did a lot of music, and Coco did silly things, really. You know what I mean? Dad was more of a musical clown, and then did the slosh as well. Coco was more of a doing silly things, and the wig, hair flying up, things like that, and pulling stuff out of his pocket. And so there was no animosity or jealousy between them at all. They were just mates. Oh, Tommy Trinder loved me dad. They got on really well. Well, my dad did the Palladium quite a few times with Tommy Trinder, Happy and Glorious it was called, and Tommy was lovely with him. He was very honoured about it, because he never thought, which I don't suppose you did in those days, you never thought yourselves as big enough stars to do that. To sort of get that on afterwards, people talking to him about it. Oh, we saw you on television, Charlie. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. And he was quite chuffed about it, actually. And it was still, that's why I keep them up now, because it meant a lot to him, really. So it was quite nice. He enjoyed the Blackpool Tower because he was home. I mean, he could have gone tenting and touring, things like that, but he enjoyed. The tower was like a jewel. To work the tower was like a jewel, and he was home. He could sleep in his own bed at night. He used to go home between shows for something to eat. He was here with his family. He wasn't going all over the place. He did in the winter time, but in the summer he was here, and he just enjoyed his family life. He loved his family, and he loved his home. And I think he just basically enjoyed life. I think he affected a lot of people's lives. If he could make people laugh, he'd made them forget about their problems. If he could make, his job was to make people forget about, and if you could make people forget about their problems for 5-10 minutes, then he was happy, and he enjoyed life. He'd done his job then, and he was happy.